Hello, everybody. This is Konstantin back with another casual interview. This time with our very own publicist and showrunner of the podcast, Chuck York. How you doing tonight, Chuck?
I still have the coof, but I'm much better than yesterday, so
That's always good to hear. That's always good to hear, mate. So, yeah, COVID, controversial topic there these days.
yeah, so I guess all I'll say is it took COVID 3 years, but it finally got me. But I think my immune system decided to say nope, and it's doing a great job. Supported of course by our good friend Mom's homemade stew.
Oh man, I love homemade soup.
Uh,
What's your mom do for soup?
stew
Because I'm
Let's see. Obviously potato, beef. Sam's Club has some really good beef. Um, Carrots, onion, and I think that's it normally. I mean, see, the thing with me is I'm very picky about what I eat. Like, I will only eat carrots in stew. Like,
yeah,
I'm that
that's fair.
weirdo.
That's completely reasonable. But also, yeah, back to the whole COVID thing. My parents had COVID when the whole thing. So, like, they were in the hospital quite a bit. My mother more so than my dad, but my mother, she lost a lot, like, because something with the bug did something to her stomach, and like she just dropped a lot of weight. And you know
Uh,
what? It's very nice, like this, like not that I'm shaming my mother, but it's nice to see her at a healthier weight, which is something I wish I could attain.
yeah,
Which that's why I'm trying to eat better.
yeah. I don't know. It's the thing. You always had to see the silver lining of the cloud. Although my preferred days are overcast, so silver linings aren't something I prefer from a visual standpoint, but in a metaphorical standpoint.
Yeah, I
Uh,
gotcha. And the thing is when my parents got COVID, right? None of my siblings got it.
yeah.
I didn't get it because I was doing school at my grandparents' house because it was my junior year of high school. And
Okay.
like I basically quarantined there and my parents quarantined at my house, at my parents' house now. But what happened is like none of the kids got it. None.
Yeah.
Like it was honestly surprising.
Yeah. I didn't. Let's see. So I wasn't. Well, it was funny for me, because the day that in high school we announced what we were going to do in case we were shut down. Everyone was asking me like, so Chuck, I guess, even though my actual first name's been said, so it really doesn't matter. Do you think we're going to be shut down? And I was like, no, they're not going to do that. And
Yeah,
then
that's what I did too.
yeah, I was like, "There's no way." But last hour of the day, we didn't even finish that day. Like last hour of the day, the PA's like, "Okay, everybody, go home. We're not gonna do anything tomorrow. Bye." And then I think we watched yeah, because Whitmer was the governor at the time, so we watched her saying, "Yeah, we're gonna stay home for and
Well, yeah, she's
however."
still the governor, but
Yeah. So that was that. No one in my immediate family. I don't think anyone got it until recently, obviously. Let's see. I may have had it because a couple years ago, I think my sense of smell was dulled, but that could just be me seeing something that wasn't there. Um,
yeah, I gotcha. And I do that too sometimes.
yeah,
But yeah, considering we're only like an hour apart from each other, what happened in my school was fairly similar, I guess. But I was in my school's band, so we were supposed to go down to Oakland County for a pep band because it was a 2 hour drive. We were going to Detroit. I was pumped for this because I was pumped, like I was ready to go, like, and then I forgot my instrument, and then they said we're canceling it anyway, so you're good
yeah.
because
Oh,
COVID. There were
oh, it
12
was
cases when they canceled it too. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because I wanted that day off of school. Going down to
Yeah.
Detroit during the day, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Instead, we did nothing anyway.
Yeah. I remember because it was I wasn't in theater, but I one of my cousins was a theater kid.
Yeah.
Both sides of my family are actually kind of well known up there at name redacted. Yeah, both my grandpa was a teacher. On my dad's side was a teacher up there, and then my mother's side has been going there since forever, really. Um, but my and I was kind of close with the theater teacher because everyone loved her as a as an English teacher and such, and an acting teacher, and I took a couple of acting classes. But that year they did Little Shop, um, but they only got to do one show, because like after that one show, um, was when we were shut down. So that was yeah, it was kind of. I mean, I guess we didn't. I mean, we didn't know what this thing was, so but still, that's kind of a blow to say, you know.
Yeah, we didn't really know what was coming, and I still got that day off of school in the end because we didn't do anything all day. We just talked about it all day,
All day. Yeah, it
all day.
was. It was. I don't know. It was kind of. I can't remember the exact. I think there was kind of an eerie vibe going on. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I knew the vibe too because the seniors and the juniors, because it started when I was a sophomore.
Yeah, ditto.
The seniors and the juniors were talking about, oh, are they going to cancel prom? They didn't. They did something a lot funnier, actually. So,
Okay.
we have to pay for our parking spots at my school. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there's something similar with yours, right? So,
Yeah.
you've got to bring a party of people, no more than 6, and you got to chill in your parking spot for prom. Imagine. Imagine.
Was there like a PA system blaring music very
I have
poorly?
no.
Like,
I was a sophomore. I didn't go.
oh,
I
okay.
didn't know. Like I didn't know, doc.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure everything online school the rest of my sophomore year was so like it was so chill. Basically, the teachers would just would essentially like the rule was the teacher would have to post the assignment by say I don't know 8 or 9 a.m. and then you just had the time to do it. And I think we did like 3 Zoom meetings, and that was for 1 class. I can't even remember specifically if it was 3 or less, but one time I completely forgot there was a Zoom meeting, and I showed up halfway through, and the teacher's like, "Eh, don't worry about it."
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was pass fail up here. So basically, if you did the work, you passed.
yeah, it
And
was
if you didn't do the work, you failed. It didn't matter how much the work you did. It didn't matter what you got on it. Like you could bomb it, but if everything was in, you passed. So that's how I passed the
yeah.
rest of my sophomore year, specifically chemistry class
Yeah.
and
It was
geometry. I hate geometry. Like, bro, it's a tri. Like side tangent here. It says prove it's a triangle, bro. It has 3 sides. It's a triangle. Come on.
oh, I hated
I
geometry with
hated that so much. And my teacher didn't make it any better, but
well,
I
the
passed.
problem well, with me for geometry, the teacher we had at the beginning, she was pregnant, so obviously she had maternity leave for a while, which obviously that makes sense. So we had like 2 teachers, and both like they were both good teachers, but I mean that couldn't have helped. But yeah, I hated geometry. I just with it, and then it's like, like and obviously as a Catholic, I love the whole legalistic side of things, with all these different rules and whatnot. But with geometry, like, come on, man.
Geometry, yeah, no, I shouldn't have to do math to prove that it's a triangle. You should be able to look at it, dog. I
Oh,
hated that
but
class. I was good at my chemistry class. In fact, I took all the notes in Romanian. I wish I still had the notebook.
oh
Like I took all
yeah,
my chem notes in Romanian because easy. But yeah, and then I just didn't do any of the work at once COVID hit. I did nothing until about April. It hit
oh
in May.
yeah,
And you
and
know
then
what? There was like 3 assignments I had to do for that entire month. It was easy.
yeah, it was so easy. The most frustrating thing about it, for me, so with religion class, I can't remember what the name of the program or whatever he used was. It was like this website where this was our theology class, so he uploaded the video, but it's like this weird program it's this website where essentially like you upload a YouTube video and then you put timestamps in the whatever, and you have to go through and watch each one and then answer the questions as they pop up. But if for some
Oh yeah,
reason you had
Canvas.
to restart, you had to watch the whole thing all over again. It's like,
Was that
oh,
Canvas? Was that
I
Canvas?
think so. But
Because what
was
I
it like
did,
an orange theme?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I
Okay.
did personally is during my entire junior year, right? My math teacher would post the notes on Canvas, right?
Hmm.
I'd mute the tab, put that put that thing on double speed, and just let it load while I do my math homework. That way,
Yeah.
I got credit for watching it, and I
Uh,
did the
I
math
didn't.
homework.
I didn't know about the double speed, but actually thinking about it, because at work, and I want to reminisce about school more, but whatever. But at work, we had these stupid health and safety training things that
Oh,
the
yeah, well,
insurance company gave us,
mhm.
and how to op two videos virtually identical about forklift operation.
Oh, hey, are you forklift certified then?
No.
Sad.
You watch a video about forklift operation, but it makes it very clear at the beginning that in order to be qualified as a forklift operator, you need to take an actual course. So why are you making me watch a video about how to operate a forklift? Like what? like it's it's not a review thing if I never was certified in the first place. Like what?
Yeah, no, what are you doing, Don?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I could watch that at half speed. Or no, no, no. The trick is that if you had to restart, you could actually like skip to each question thingy. I don't know. I can't.
Ah,
I don't know. But I don't know. But let's see. So 10th grade, sophomore year, that was just super easy. 11th grade, we had it was let's see. It was A through whatever letter of the alphabet. I think they switched it halfway through because obviously there's 26 letters in the alphabet, but you're gonna have more A's
A
than you're
through
gonna be
M,
C's.
A through M, and N through Z,
Something like that. I can't remember.
something
This
like that.
was 2 whole years ago. Could you expect me to remember something that happened like 2 years ago? Anyways,
Dog, I
uh,
still remember the time when I was like 4 and almost drowned in the St. Clair River.
I remember the time I zip lined with my vacuum blanket.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. My parents should have been able to figure out that I was a little special beforehand if they thought that my the lizard thingy on my blanket, that I thought it looked like a quote a vacuum without a cord. Um, they should have realized I was special before that. Uh,
Yeah, no, I think
as-
my parents realized I was special when, my aunt always loves to tell this anecdote. We were at the beach. It was summer. I was like 3 years old, right?
yeah,
I was a little kid. I was a toddler. She was trying to get me to count out rocks on the beach. I
yeah.
told her there were 18, and she's like, "Come on, bud, you still got to count them." I'm like, "No, there are 18," and she counts them out, right? 18.
There we go.
Yeah. I was also spelling really big words with fridge magnets, but that's a different story.
Oh yeah. See,
Yeah,
see,
at like 2 years
spelling.
old,
Yeah, spelling was the one thing that like I am a terrible speller. Like
I'm,
I can tell you about
but
the
I can
Duke of
tell.
Cumberland, but that doesn't mean I can spell Cumberland.
I can tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, here's the thing is like I always grew up being like, oh, I'm super smart, this, that, and the other. Then high school came along.
For me, like I never really had to study.
Oh yeah, I never studied either, but
Yeah,
that
but then Latin came along and I was like, you know,
I took
and it
German in my seventh grade class in my seventh grade year.
yeah. I had
The
to
seventh
do
grade year was pretty bad for different reasons, but German was like the highlight of my day.
yeah, I had to do something great were wild. I had to do I had to take Latin from K-12 because my high school, you think a Catholic high school would have a Latin teacher, but apparently we couldn't afford one or we couldn't find
Really?
one. Yeah. I mean what happened is that given that everyone stopped treating Latin as something, we should try to educate people in, Latin teachers became kind of scarce. Now that there's this demand, I guess, for Latin teachers, that isn't.
Find them.
Yeah, because you basically told an entire generation that Latin's really only something you learn if you're like in Rome. Other than that, you're fine.
Or
Um,
or 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 if you're scientist.
oh yeah. Well, not even that. Well, actually, my grandmother on my dad's side, so my fraternal grandmother, she
Mhm.
was a nurse. And when she was in college, like I guess her first year, they were making her take Latin. Then the next year, they're like, nah, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
that's weird.
yeah, I mean, I guess she didn't really had to speak it or anything, but I guess I don't know. A drug, something with drug names. I think.
Yeah.
Um,
But, back to the whole high school thing,
yeah.
I wasn't exactly the guy I am right now during like the first 3 years. In fact, my junior year, I nearly failed the entire year because I did nothing. Because my parents set me up to do online. And I told them, this isn't going to work because you know how easily I get distracted.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I was right.
Yeah, high school. I don't know. We never. I mean, we had an option for all online for back then. Actually, before COVID,
Oh,
before
you
COVID.
had an online option before
No, no,
COVID?
no. Not we didn't have one, but I remember talking to. Let's see. He was my ninth grade theology teacher, my 11th grade EP Euro teacher, and my 12th grade principal. So I can't
Uh-huh.
remember who he was at this stage. He also became a deacon like halfway through.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Cool.
okay, so he was Mr. Ninth grade theology teacher, deacon 11th grade AP Euro teacher, and deacon principal. But he was only there 4 years, so he came in with my with my class, and he left with my class. So
Oh, that's cool.
he's now
That's
with
always
Detroit.
nice.
Um, he's now with the Detroit Catholic schools. But anyways, he he said that our high school is actually considering having an online thing because there's like so many people who wanted to go there, and that they all were also trying to seeing about putting classrooms in the basement. um, yeah. Uh, because it's like, I mean, it's a big building, and they built this the original, because we moved into an old building, and the building was, beautiful brick, and then we built this really, it's not the ugliest extension in the world, but it definitely
Yeah. Like,
contrasts with the old with the old building. And the cornerstones are actually 100 years apart, so that is a kind of cool actually. Um but yeah, so we were considering that. But when it came to COVID, I hated doing online. I hated it. I mean,
yeah, no, I absolutely loathed it, which, that's part of the reason I didn't do anything. And
yeah.
then the other reason was a little thing called autism. I would be in class and I'd get distracted through something on the other monitor.
Oh,
And I'd
yeah.
be playing a game on the other monitor, and I just once the meeting was done, full attention to the other monitor. So was it a responsibility on my part? Yeah, it was, honestly. But should my parents have listened to me when I said, this isn't going to be a good idea, and I feel like I'm going to fail if you do this? Yeah, they should have.
Yeah, it was. I mean, fortunately, I never. I managed to force myself to, because we had iPads, so I just did everything, because our school forced us to use iPads, so I just did everything on the iPad.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so that was it was easier for me not to get distracted by that, but I just hated the back and forth, because it's
Yeah,
like,
it was super annoying because there were websites that I'd have to use for a source that were blocked on my school computer. So I'd have to use because I was chilling with my grandma and I didn't have my big PC rig that I have now.
yeah.
I had to use my grandma's computer to go look other stuff up so that way I could do my work because the school computers wouldn't let me do it.
Oh, I love it
Which
when
was the most frustrating part is because I'd be trying to get like a legitimate source, but it's blocked because of ads.
oh yeah, we had uh I mean, like, I look, I like the idea of a firewall at school.
Yeah,
Like,
don't get me wrong, a firewall is a great idea. You need to make it a lot less restrictive.
well, yeah, no,
Like
I mean,
literally block the porn sites and other things like that. That's it though.
yeah, I mean, like, I like the idea.
And
I mean,
of
obviously,
course,
you should just have
sketchy,
safe search on by
sketchy.
default.
Yeah,
But
no, sketchy sites too, like the ones that'll give you a virus if you go on them. But whatever.
yeah, I mean, I think it's just an issue of like how I don't know. I mean, our I remember a couple times we had to go to the school's IT guy because the teacher had used a website, and the teachers were not on the same Wi-Fi network as the students,
Yeah, yeah, same here.
so so the teachers couldn't know, and it was. I mean, fortunately, when you were at home, the firewall didn't apply, so I only had to deal with my own safe search
Yeah,
issues.
no, my firewall, like the firewall was in the computer. It was like
Oh, okay.
some program. It was like I don't remember what it was. I could remember. I would tell you if I knew. But it was
Yeah.
really stupid. Like I think one time it blocked a BBC website.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think my firewall, our school's firewall did that too, but I can't remember for
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was like sophomore year, so it was irrelevant. But at least I could still play Pokemon games on that day.
Oh, actually it was funny. So it blocks so the firewall also blocks like since we're using iPads, I guess it's optimized to do this. It also blocks certain apps.
Yeah.
And so for the but I guess that has to be added manually. So for the first little bit after Disney Plus was launched, you could actually use Disney Plus before someone was like, "Oh yeah, right, that's a thing now."
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, no, there's also another thing that I did with my Chromebook specifically was I installed Windows on it. The firewall didn't apply to Windows.
uh,
Mind you, you had to like manually get the chip out. Like I knew how to do all the tech stuff, so I was like, okay, yeah, this is easy. And then once I was about to return it for my senior year, I was like, oh crap, I got to do this all. Like literally took me 20 minutes.
and no one said anything. No one found that out.
Yeah, no, no, you couldn't tell.
Oh,
I
that's
was precise because they don't check like the because you had to go into like the motherboard and stuff itself.
yeah.
Yeah, you had to go into actually all the computer junk to do this. So like they couldn't tell that I removed the screws or anything. And I
Okay.
love the anonymity of the internet because I can admit this stuff with impunity.
Well, I mean, I,
Mostly
I
impunity.
mean, success is its own permission. I mean, even if someone from your old high school is watching, I mean, it's not like he's gonna be, oh,
Yeah, it's not.
we
It's
gotta
not like
find
they're
you
gonna
constantly.
name. It's not like they're gonna know my real name, personal information, where I live, all that. They might
Yeah,
know some of my siblings, but they won't know me.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure
Also,
whoever's watching, he'll be like, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not. I mean, if you did everything right, which I'm assuming you did, then I mean, it's not like it
yeah, no, if
affects
I
anything.
hadn't, they would have talked to me about it.
Hmm. I mean, all you did was void the warranty, but oh, right.
Dude, those Chromebooks are like 5 or 6 years old. They didn't have a warranty on them anymore.
I hate Chromebook.
Yeah,
My
no.
sister,
Why do you think I installed Windows on it?
I know. My sister got a Chromebook, and basically and now that she has an iPad for school, she doesn't really use it,
Hmm.
because school made you buy them, so I still use
Oh,
my school iPad. Um,
but they
but
took all the firewall stuff off of it, right?
oh, no, no, no,
No,
so
that was just the internet stuff.
you bought the iPad, and then, like, the first day you brought that iPad in, whether it was your freshman year or you got
Oh, I
another
thought
one
you were
later,
buying them
you
from the
installed
school.
it. So
I thought you were
someone
buying them from the school.
Yeah, oh, no, no, you don't buy them from the school. You basically they let you buy any iPad that was newer than whatever generation, and it
Hmm.
couldn't be a mini. So, and you had to buy a keyboard.
Okay,
So as
okay.
long as, but not from them. So, and then if you couldn't afford it,
They
um, then they would lend you a Chromebook. But see,
right.
this is
Okay.
why being dirt poor is not an option. No, no, but my sister's Chromebook, all we ended up using it for in the end was because our old TV was not a smart TV, so we just
So
plugged it into the TV
nice.
and used it to stream over HDMI 2. And then Dad was at Home Depot because of not Home Depot.
Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever.
Not Home Depot. No, Best Buy,
Okay.
the big blue store.
So not
Well,
Lowe's.
yeah, yeah, not
Yeah, I
Lowe's.
know what you mean.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the big blue electronics store. Um, anyways, so and I don't know if he was. I don't know why he was. I mean, he was. I mean, I guess he saw there was a deal, so he got an Amazon smart TV thingy that
Oh,
whatever.
the Fire Stick.
Yeah, one of those things. And it came with a free Amazon Echo. And to show you how tech savvy we are as a family, or all we use it for is an alarm clock. And then
Nice.
the occasional voice query. So it's not even, it's like, because to actually get the most out of it, you had to pay Amazon money. And I'm
Yeah, I
like,
think my
eh,
parents got me one for like my 14th birthday. I
yeah,
used it for maybe a month
yeah, it's,
because
uh,
all I had to do was read Wikipedia articles off.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
yeah,
seriously. I'm being genuine. Yeah.
I love, how tech is, I mean, obviously I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a tech shortage, but maybe if we just like reduce the amount of garbage we threw chips into, like, do we really need a smart refrigerator? I'm just saying.
I mean, no, but it also depends because what if you don't know how to change the temperature manually?
I
Which,
mean, there's a little,
most
you
people
open the
should know how
door
to
and
do.
there's a
Like,
slider that,
yeah, no. It like using a thing without like a touch screen is really like a litmus test for me personally. Kind of like returning the grocery cart when you leave, which is the most obnoxious thing ever. I'm not going to get into that because that really annoys me.
oh
Like,
yeah,
come
yeah,
on, don't leave a
sometimes when
grocery cart in the middle of the parking lot, dude.
sometimes when I'm returning a cart and I see one that's on my way, I'll grab it too,
It's your
but
moral and civic duty to go return it, right?
yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I do that.
It's it's funny. Oh, has your Meyer started putting like locking, your local Meyer, has it put locking wheels on its cart so that if it goes past the perimeter it will just lock up?
Oh, that's a thing. No, I don't shop at my local Meijer.
All right.
Yeah, I either go to Target or Walmart because Camilla works at the Target and I work at the Walmart.
Okay. Oh. So when you get married and have kids, there's one of them going to work at Costco, the other going to work at
Well, Costco, yeah,
Myers.
there is a Costco in my town and it pays really well. I
Yeah.
was considering going there.
Yeah, well, Sam's Club's closer. Actually, apparently some for whatever reason, the manager at the Sam's Club, he let our local Sam's Club, he let the Costco people set up for a little like demonstration thingy. It's
Hmm.
like, firstly, why would you do that with your direct competition? And secondly, how many memberships could you really sell when the nearest Costco's like, I think your Costco might be the nearest Costco actually.
I think there's
Um,
one. No, there was one in Clare. There might
okay,
be one in Saginaw. I know there's a Sam's Club in Saginaw.
okay, yeah, but
My
still, that's
the
like,
Costco here is the one. Yeah, let's actually. I'll figure it out. It's either here or Detroit.
okay,
Maybe Grand
yeah.
Rapids. I
I
don't know.
don't. Yeah, I mean, but still, you're probably gonna have to get on the E-way, and like, why get on the E-way unless you have to? I guess that's my
Yeah,
question.
no. When I'm going down south to see my aunt and uncle, they live outside of Port Huron, which is where I used to live.
Yeah.
So they live outside Port Huron. So we all like Camilla and I. We haven't done it yet, but when we do, we are going to take the back roads because I-70.
Yeah, no, I I just I just hate E-ways with the burning passion greater than that of a thousand suns. So when we meet later, I'm gonna have to either force myself to take the E-way, or I'm gonna have to give myself a lot of time to go. Well, not a lot of time, but it's only whatever.
Well, Camilla and I are also probably going to not take the highway too. So you've got time. Remember, she's still got school between 8 and 2:30. So
Okay,
you
yeah.
got plenty of time. If we meet at like 4.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, we're not gonna tell you where we're meeting, YouTube
Yeah,
audience,
to
because we
keep
don't.
it anonymous. But
Yeah. Um.
but yeah, just one more topic before we close it up here. We were talking about high school and stuff. Who was your favorite teacher?
That is an interesting question. I mean, it's either two of the ones I mentioned. It's either my ninth grade theology teacher slash AP Euro teacher slash principal, or the. Well, I don't know. Actually, no. It's really a difficult thing because I really have a lot of different. Um, I don't know. I mean, my 12th grade English teacher, she was really fun. She would always say, when we had a quiz, she would say, "It's really easy. I took it. I passed it." Um, Uh, it's fun. And then but then our English, my English teacher for a lot of the years, well, for 2 years before that, she was really good. She was really fun. And she also was an acting class, so that was a pretty chill environment, especially when we played. I don't know if there's a specific game, but it's just an improv game where there's just two of you on stage. A freeze, it's called. So you
Ah, okay.
act a scenario, and then someone says freeze, and then you freeze into the position you were at that moment, and then you tag um one person out. You take his spot, and then you start a new scenario. Uh, I
Ah,
would always I would always use this as an excuse to try to stab people. Um,
okay.
no, I didn't. I did not manage to get through every single person in the class. Um, and then I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I had a teacher I disliked as a person, so I can't really say. I had a teacher I disliked as a teacher, but not as a person.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I find it hard
Yeah.
to dislike people as people. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, unless they like do something and go out of their way to wrong you, it's really hard for me to dislike people.
Yeah. Um.
But my favorite teacher was actually it's a tie between my band teacher who I had for between the years of 5th grade and my senior year because he was the band teacher, like he was the guy.
Okay.
And then there was my ninth and then there was my freshman year English teacher as well as my senior year history teacher.
Same
That
person.
man,
Okay.
yeah, no, same dude. The most based history teacher ever. Had a big thing for guns in Hemingway. It was great.
Yeah.
He was also an avid hunter.
Okay. That
And
is cool.
you know, he like we went out like he went out of his way to do, the biggest and the best, We I think there was one day, it was an exam day. I stayed in his classroom because I didn't have an exam that hour and we kind of just talked a lot.
Oh yeah. My 10th grade teacher. That's what he would do. He would if for COVID he would just upload his lectures, but his lectures were so. I mean, a lot of what he said was kind of outdated, like how he said that the Soviets used mass human wave tactics, like they outnumbered the Germans 10-1 at all times. It's like,
Well, yeah,
eh,
that my history teacher was more of a realist with that. Basically, he was like, "Yeah, the Soviets had a like, yeah, we did a lot for the war, but the Soviets won it."
well, yeah. I mean, no. I mean, with the numbers thing. I mean, it's not so much that what he said was raw. Well, I mean, it was wrong, but I mean, like what he got it. I am assuming from reading a lot of because it's only been since the Soviet archives were open that we started to see a lot more information. Because before that, all our information on the war came from like German generals and
Mhm.
only the ones who were on our side of the Iron Curtain and the ones who survived. Um, so obviously they're going to try to portray themselves in the best light possible, um,
Well,
and
yeah,
whatnot. Yeah, and I mean, and obviously the Soviets weren't going to tell us anything. I mean, we didn't tell them about we didn't let out that we had like this. Officially, we had this division that was essentially there to fool the Germans into thinking that there was a lot of divisions elsewhere. Like they would do like loudspeaker things, like of
the
recordings of
not
tank.
not Rommel's Ghost Division, but the
Yeah,
Ghost
the
Division.
Ghost Army. Yeah.
Yeah,
We didn't. I don't think we declassified that until
inflatable
the
tanks and
70s.
everything too. It was quite
Oh yeah,
incredible.
yeah. So obviously, I mean, I'm not blaming the Soviets for not telling us, but from the historical point of view, yeah. And he also said things like, the our tanks were just so much inferior to the Germans. When it's like, I mean,
Well, yeah, T-70, T-34s were all very mass produced.
yeah. Well, I mean, the T-34. I never done any firsthand I've never done any firsthand research on it, but from what I have heard, the Soviet T-34 uh, was if it was built to American standards, it would the American we apparently did a test of it after the war. If it was built to American standards, uh, it would have it would have cost more than a Sherman, even though the Sherman had a lot of nicer bulbs and whatnot, bells and whistles
Mhm.
than the T-34. Um, so of course, the Soviets made it cheaper by just skipping some of the features, like
Yeah,
like
they mass
apparently,
produced it. They needed to mass produce it though. Like they needed something that was cheap and easy to mass produce because given the situation that they were in, like
yeah. Well, I
they
mean,
needed they needed a lot of it. Like
yeah.
they just needed a lot.
Well, I mean, I guess there's a difference though between simplifying a design and then as opposed to having mirrors for the periscope, you just put like polished metal in the periscope and hope that's good enough.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean that and of course, that's the thing. Like, how many Soviet tanks were killed you know uh because the thing was just faulty. Apparently, sometimes also Soviet tanks would just take spare transmissions with them into battle because
They needed it.
yeah.
And
Which
there's one oh, sorry.
I mean, I guess the thing is, like, how many? Because yeah, I mean, if you can, I mean, what, I mean, because producing 10 times more of a thing also means you have to have 10 times the logistics for the thing. So if you needed, as opposed to if the Germans have 10 tanks and you have 100, well, you still need um so you still need 10 times as much crew, and then you still need uh as much, well, probably not 10 times as much fuel, but you need way more fuel and you need way more ammunition and you way more training, and um so I guess there's that balance you had to strike. But like I say, I haven't done any firsthand research, so I'm not really
Yeah,
called.
neither have
Well,
I. There was one like it was an IB course. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's kind of like AP in a way.
okay,
But basically we had to write a big term paper, right?
yeah,
So, I did all the work for the paper. I just didn't start writing it. Mind you, this thing was like it was like a 2,000 to 2,300 word paper.
okay,
Uh the due date, right? I wrote it in about 3 hours because no, and not even because I was being lazy, because I knew I could do it. Because I had everything written. I had like all of my points written out, all the sources. I had bookmarked sources in an actual like book that I got off of Amazon to help me. And like, so basically, I wrote the entire thing in 3 hours and got a 95 on it.
yeah. The only time I had to do like a really big research paper was eighth grade. It was a history of American rail transportation.
Oh, nice! I love that topic.
Yeah. Um. Oh boy, it was reading that now is just like,
You look at the writing and you cringe, right?
yeah. No, I mean it's just, I don't know. It was. I mean, hey, I got a good grade on it. And my demonstration, because it was one of those things where you also had to make like a demonstration board where you put up images and whatnot. Mine was the coolest because I set up a little oval of HO track and ran my one of my model trains around it. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
My dad teacher had a thing for trains.
yeah, I like trains.
Like,
Yeah.
he
Um.
was a model train guy.
Yeah. Of course, now I'm very British inclined. Um.
Yeah, yeah. Things change over years like that. Like
Well,
I
I think.
used to,
Oh, go ahead.
I don't elaborate much on my band days anymore, but I can play like four different instruments. Like I'm musically inclined, anyways. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just, I don't know. Maybe watching a lot of Thomas as a kid kind of made me more interested in the British stuff. It's funny because with the show Thomas, right? So Britt Elcroft and everyone else went through all this effort to make an American dub of the show, right?
Mhm.
But with the exception of like a couple episodes, everything was same word for word, except in our version, Sir Topham Hatt wasn't called the Fat Controller, which is kind of a loss, really. But but it was so much the same that like the terms we use, like switch. were not used. We like the American narrator still said points. Like if you're going through all this effort to make an American dub, why not use American rail terminology? I don't know. But also imagine what's his name? George Carlin
Oh,
doing it.
I know what videos you're talking about.
Oh
I
yeah,
know
no, no.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, he did. He I think he was seasons 2 through 4 or whatever, and then he re-narrated the first season. Um, yeah, he did. He it's just so funny because like he was a voice that I heard in my childhood, and then
Then you
mom's
look
like,
them up.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
you know, I agree. My buddy, like, there's a lot. There's like a series of YouTube videos where it's like dubbed over with George Carlin's less than child friendly jokes, and like we were on a road trip. I think we were going to Bay City or Saginaw for GameStop. They had one in our town. They just didn't have what we were looking for.
okay.
So we went to both of them and we just watched like 20 minutes of this stuff and we were cracking up so badly that it's US 10. It's not as bad as 75, but like we we were going slower than the speed limit because
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I haven't really seen anything like that, but it's just so weird to see like because especially because Carlin. I don't know, because like Carlin, his positions on religion were kind of
interesting.
unfortunate. But I don't know because like the railways, because like the books that Thomas was based off was called the Railway series. Thomas wasn't even like the main character; it was more of an
Mhm.
ensemble cast. But it was written by a Reverend Wilbert Audrey, so um, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Although
no,
I don't,
that is funny to think
yeah,
about.
yeah, I don't know if Carlin ever met Reverend Audrey. I know Reverend Audrey died in like the '90s, so after Carlin had at least started his narration
Yeah,
of
wait,
it.
how old is that show?
It
Because
I think
I
the
thought they were
first
making
season,
new episode when I was growing up.
yeah,
Like I thought it was new.
the first season was 1984, I think.
That's almost as old as my mother.
Yeah, literally 1984. Um, but and let's see, and then they did, and then like production kind of speeded up. I mean, like by the 2000s, they were doing a season every year. And then in like 2009, they switched over to CGI, which the show got
Wasn't
really
a thing.
bad after season 5. The show started to dip in quality. By season 7, it was really dipping in quality. But
Hold on. I need to put this as a separate topic here. We
okay,
are reviewing a child's TV show.
yes, a child's TV show that I hold very dear.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it's one of those things that you just hold very. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, and
I'm just
then
agreeing with you.
let's see, and then halfway through the CGI era, a man named Andrew Brenner was put in charge of it, and he started to make the show actually good again. And then Mattel wasn't marketing the show properly, so they're like, clearly okay, we have a lot of people. The show is clearly getting a lot of like support from fans again, but we're not marketing properly. Could it be that the problem is us not marketing it properly, or is the problem the better writing? Clearly it's not our problem. And so they Mattel did this thing called Big World Big Adventures where they killed off, well, they didn't kill them off obviously, but they killed off Henry and Edward um because they wanted to make the main cast like more gender equal for some reason. And then and the characters that Mattel replaced them with were dumb, like, and they were essentially just token, like
Token woman.
yeah, no, I mean it's well, one was from Africa. Okay, so that's something, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
no, I
fair.
mean,
Given
well, I mean, the thing I have to wonder is, I mean, it makes sense.
why would you make
Okay, well, she got her introduction. So the way that the show worked in its latter years is that there would be a movie that's like an hour long. That would
Oh yeah, I
basically,
remember the original live action one. Yeah.
yeah.
That
Oh,
that was
like,
a bad.
the
That was a
Thomas and the
bad
Magic
movie.
Railroad, that was a completely different
Yeah,
thing.
no, I know. I just couldn't help but think, oh, that was a
Oh,
really.
yeah. Uh, I mean, you know, all the stuff aside, I kinda wish Alec Baldwin was still doing the narration. All the recent
Yeah.
stuff with him aside. Um, no, but I've got to find more gold dust. No, but he knew what kind of movie it was in, I think. Yeah, he was just chewing the scenery, and he loved it. Anyways, um, no, yeah, so in that movie though, they explained that Nia was her name, that her railway was closing, but and so it made sense why the Fat Controller would buy Nia because the fact
That
because
controller.
I mean, hey, look, I mean,
Like,
if
no,
a
no, I think it's funny.
well, yeah, no, I mean, if a Christian reverend writes it and says it's okay to call him that, it doesn't necessarily mean it's okay, but it's a stronger indication. Um, Now, if it was written by a father, Wilbert Audrey, no, but anyways, uh, yeah, no, but like the thing with Nia is they like her marketing she was token, like she was supposed to just be from Africa, like her paint job was very African, her face was very like I mean, like all the engines have gray faces, but I don't but they still made hers look African, even though I'm pretty sure she would have been built in Europe because I don't know of any domestic African steam. Not saying there wasn't, but and then
Besides maybe in like South Africa or
oh yeah, I'm
Algeria.
pretty sure South Africa
You
had
know,
it.
the more highly developed post-African,
Well, yeah,
post-colonialism places like, specifically Algeria.
yeah, and then I don't even know if Kenya uses standard. She's from Kenya, I think. I don't even know if they use standard gauge over there. I don't know, but the movie was just so like the Big World Big Adventure. It was so lazy because they would take like the character models for different characters, like change the face and the paint job, and then just use that like for the background characters.
Mhm.
It's like why is a British locomotive in China? Because that's another thing. Thomas went all around the world to various locations like China because that would have been politically viable in the 1950s or whenever this movie takes place. Um, yeah, I'm sure that the Chinese government would have just loved a random British locomotive showing up in Hong Kong or whatever, and then getting onto the mainland. Like
Well,
nothing can go
yeah,
wrong
here's the
there.
thing. Maybe it's earlier than that because, China wasn't exactly I would say like antebellum period between the world wars. But that's a
Yeah,
little out
well,
that's a little far back though.
yeah, I think it has to take place after World War II because one of the main characters of that movie is like this race car, and if anyone knows what his basis was, could probably pin a more exact date. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it took place after the Second World War, and I don't know. It was essentially apparently it was marketing more than anything, like why Thomas went to these specific countries, like India. Let's see, it was India, Australia, uh, China, and apparently it was marketing like because Mattel wanted to grow the brand there, but it's like the most token like okay, they did an American episode, so this is perfect, right? So imagine like you're an Indian or no, imagine you're an American because you are. And then in order to get you more invested in Thomas, okay, the Thomas episode has Thomas in America, but America is portrayed as one giant desert with cowboys.
Yeah, that sounds about right in all
And
fairness.
then imagine that level of stereotypicality, stereotypicality, stereotypicity. Imagine that level of
Whatever.
stereotypical whatever for all the countries. Okay, like if you're in like are if you're like an Indian or a Chinese person or an Australian, are you really learning anything about your own culture?
Like, I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
It's just like, I mean, Thomas, I don't know. I mean, I felt Thomas was better when it was trying to teach moral lessons, not trying to inform you. Because like, is a blue tank engine really the best medium for exploring other cultures. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, there's like I would say Dora the Explorer, but that's a little generic at this point.
I do like I don't know, Dora the Explorer. That was a vibe. Um, I remember watching that as a kid. Um, yeah. Let's see. Nick Jr. was where I spent most of my time. I remember Oswald.
Oh yeah, I remember that. When I was like a little kid, I remembered I remember a lot of the old Nick Jr. shows. But from the time I was like 5 or like 4 or 5, I'd be spending most of my time on like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon.
Yeah, well, the weird thing for me is that
Oddly enough, it wasn't the Disney Channel though.
yeah, most of my time was spent on Nick. But what happened was that oh no, with PBS, I never really watched PBS Kids growing up, but my mom had to go to work, so she actually worked at the high school where I went. She still works there actually. But she would have to leave earlier some days of the week. And
Hmm.
so one of my sister's friends who lived down the street would pick us up, and uh, and I would always wake up. So even on actually this happened either way. So even on days when she was off, I would wake up an hour before we had to be there. So I would wake up at like 7, and so basically, and at that time, I never like I always would just dress in my outfit for the next day because I'm weird like that. I
You were a
actually
kid.
I still don't wear pajamas. I actually wear these. I actually wear the short uniform from my high school because they're so comfy.
Oh
Um,
really? Huh.
yeah, I'm wearing them right now actually. Um, and then I didn't even wear t-shirts. Like it was only in high school that I started wearing t-shirts, and even then it was underneath my or I wore those underneath my regular uniform shirts. But anyway, so basically, I had an hour to just sit there, and I was getting tired of watching like SpongeBob, I guess. So I just turned on PBS Kids, and so it was basically just like it was either Arthur or this is a newer show that was on after we were out of the target age demographic. It was shoot, what was it called? It was Jet or whatever. It was basically like the show that taught kids about space through the POV lens of an alien kid from Earth, and
I
he and his.
wish I knew.
I mean,
But
it
like
was
you see,
kind.
I'm the oldest of 8. I've got so many siblings. One of
Yeah,
them is bound to be have to watch that show at least once.
yeah. It's shoot. Let's see. And then there was this cute pet alien pet thing. His name was Sunspot. It would essentially you would just teach kids about different space concepts, and like how the kid who's like basically the same age as the other two kids is like 30 something because his Bortron 7 is the name of the planet. He spins around its sun a lot faster. And one episode they did it was like a special. It had like these songs for each of the planets. And it was kind of funny because it's like you know it's they were on Venus. And it's like it's hot, man, it's roasting like inside a roaster. Let's see what it does to this earthly toaster. And they chuck a toaster out and then it just poof, it just disintegrates. It's like
Oh, interesting.
oh, that it was just
You
such a
see,
funny.
remember how I mentioned that I grew up on Cartoon Network?
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember CN Real. It was bad. Basically, they tried to rebrand their whole like network to live action.
Oh, why would you do that though?
Well, okay, there was one good thing, and it was Destroy Build Destroy. I remember that show fondly because there was a lot of explosions, and little 5 6 year old me enjoyed explosions.
Well, who does? Well, what growing boy doesn't?
Also, Pokemon. That was like the only anime I ever watched, like
Yeah,
seriously watched,
my sister,
because
my sister,
I grew up with the cards, the games.
yeah, my sister tried to get me into Naruto, but I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Pokemon
not my
was,
thing, dog.
yeah, Pokemon was like the only one that 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 I really I
Yeah,
gave
you
all
know,
my
I
Pokemon cards to my younger sister, except my Chansey cards, my Blissey card, and my or Blissey cards and my Happiny card, because those
I
are the
don't know what
cheapest.
happened to all my Pokemon cards. I must have like 500 something of them.
Yeah, they vanished into the ether.
Well,
Um,
either that or my younger siblings got to them because they were babies and they don't know trading cards. Rip, rip, rip. Whatever.
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I
Chansey
still
was
got my
just
deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that Buddy gave me in high school. He's in the Marines now, funnily enough.
I would make a joke at that, but I don't really know any Yu-Gi-Oh jokes.
Yeah, so true.
No, it's just I don't know. It's like childhood nostalgia. It's weird how, because like what are the next generation, like what is like the kids who are 10 years younger than us who would be like uh 9, yeah,
8, 9, somewhere
8,
like
9,
that.
yeah. What will the next generation view as like nostalgic? You know what I mean?
Well, even let's go back 5 years. Like I could still probably tell you about that, but as for these new kids on the block, I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I
I mean,
don't know.
well, okay, so you have well, because remember, so 2008 is when Star Wars: The Clone Wars came out.
And that was one of the greatest shows of all time.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, for sure. Pinnacle of
So
children's TV.
yeah, it's really great. I don't. My dad brought me up with a very strong hatred of the prequels. So
You see, I never had the problem that a lot of people with the prequels have. Like a lot of people have with the prequels. Like I never, like, oh, Star Wars movie. Yeah, it's not great, but it's not terrible in my opinion.
well, I mean, well, I
It
mean,
was
the
good.
Star Wars prequels have inadvertently been like one of the greatest things mankind has created just because of the meme potential.
Oh yeah, the meme potential's great.
You know, I mean, oh, it's just so great. But I probably spent no, I almost certainly have spent more time watching or looking at Star Wars prequel memes than I have actually watching the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember. So I remember one time. I think it was summer before last. Like it was just before school was starting. My grandpa and I were never really super close.
okay,
But I would always grow up like he's a civil engineer. I would always grow up watching him do his thing on his computer because he would be like planning out factories and stuff because it was his job. He was a contractor.
okay.
So I'd grow up sitting there, and when I was like 16, and I'm like, "Hey, Grandpa, you want to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey?" He's the biggest space nerd I have ever met. By the way,
Mm.
so yeah, we sat down. We sat down on the couch in my grandpa's basement and watched 2001: A Space Odyssey on this older model. I think it's a JVC TV. Like it's still old enough to the point where it's got like the line static. The ones when you play VHS.
Oh yeah. Oh, was
Yeah,
it CRT?
it's a CRT.
Oh, I love CRTs. I mean, they're heavy,
They're
but
cool. Like it's
I love
it's
them.
like one of the big box TVs, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
watched.
I mean, it's literally the line. It's literally one line getting drawn. What's 480 divided by two? 240 times, and then again in between that 240 times, varying in intensity of light, and it's called an electron gun. Like, how cool is that? I don't care if if a modern LCD is like much more energy efficient and produces a much cleaner
I
image.
like my
It's an
CRT TV.
electron gun. Anyways, pray continue.
But yeah, I just remember that was one of the few nights that I remember with my grandpa that we actually like enjoyed each other's company.
I never seen 2001: A
It
Space Odyssey.
it's a great movie.
Oh.
It's a great movie. And then there was the time that me and my buddies we do fairly stupid things. So what we did, and this was I want to say it was last fall question mark. Maybe it was like November or something. But yeah, so we watched American Psycho together in my buddy's basement on this big TV, and it was awesome. I love that movie, and we were because all the memes from that movie, and we were just pointing them out as we were watching, kind of like what we did with the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should after we hang together the first time, we should hang together more often and do
Yeah,
that because the memes are just glorious. But
yeah, I'm not opposed. Just
yeah,
it'd be like an hour or so drive.
Yeah, I mean, no, but it's just memes. It's just memes have the potential to save a movie.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
like
how many meme? I mean, Master and Commander. Okay, great movie, but how many meme templates have you seen come out of it?
I don't even know what that movie is, dog.
Oh, it is one of the greatest. It's like if you want a movie set during, so it's based off of it's based off novels of the same, I guess a series of the same name, but it's this frigate called HMS Surprise, but I don't think it's the HMS Surprise. Actually, there were many HMS Surprises. Surprise Eye? Anyways, um, Surprise is. Anyways, it's an HMS Surprise, and it has to take down this French frigate that is bigger than it and faster than it, that also damaged it when she first encountered her. The
Mhm.
yeah. I really need to read the books. Although in the books that's based off of, the frigate is actually American, uh, and it's, I guess, sets place during the War of 1812.
Mhm.
But the movie takes place in 1805. But yeah, it is a really good movie. It's very historically accurate as well, which is another bonus. Um,
Yeah, I remember in my eighth grade history class, we watched a bit of, I think it was Gettysburg or something. It was the movie, it was like the really historically accurate movie about
yeah,
Gettysburg. I
yeah,
think it was just called Gettysburg, but I'm not
yeah. It was
sure.
just called Gettysburg. I had that on DVD disc, and apparently it's in really early DVD disc because the film was so long. It had to be put on to. It had to be one of those double-sided DVD disc.
Ah, yeah, I know the feeling. Kind of like my old Xbox game collection. Got two discs, one installs the game on your Xbox. And
Uh, I never. I mean, I have an Xbox 360 that my cousin gave me a few years ago, but I
yeah,
don't know.
I actually bought mine at the local game store for like $100.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
And
we
it's
were.
one of the blue ones. It's one of the blue ones, and it's if I remember correctly, the blue ones are of fairly uncommon
I'm not
because
that deep into Xbox lore. All I
yeah,
know.
neither am I. I just remember them being fairly uncommon, and I remember my stepbrother had one, and I was super jealous.
Yeah, we were a Nintendo family. So,
Ah, I gotcha.
yeah, so we had the Wii, and then like a couple years before the Nintendo Switch came out, we got the Wii U.
Oh man, too, because the Wii U wasn't great.
The Wii U was, I
The
mean,
Wii, don't get me wrong, I love the Wii U mostly because I had friends with it that grew up and we played a lot of Smash 4 on it.
well, we
Played a lot of
never
Smash Bros.
we only got the Wii U though because the Wii was dying, and I think we bought 2 games for
The
the
Wii
Wii
U
U.
has backwards compatibility,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So
yeah.
basically, we bought it because it was. I think what we ultimately ended up deciding on was because we also were considering an Xbox One or a PS4, um, which those were long in the tooth anyways by that point, I think, or not
Yeah.
quite as long in the tooth. But anyways, basically it was a Wii that uh that could also do other stuff. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it
we
could
also
also connect
ended
to
up
the internet.
buying. Okay, so we had that Mario make that where you can
Oh,
make your own
Super
Mario
Mario
level.
Maker.
Yeah, Super Mario Maker. That was the packing game. It's weird how packing games are just pre-installed on there. You don't even have the disc anymore. Just I mean,
That's nice. I find that like a convenience thing, honestly.
it's
You can load up
convenient.
you can load up your console and play a game while your other games are downloading to your console.
Well, we see that's the thing. We never really did the downloading thing. We just because we always just used the disc. Like we even I mean, there's something I don't know. There's something I like about having. I mean, like even though I'm part of the glorious PC master race, and like the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
the last time that I mean, technically the last time I used a disk drive to install a game was a couple years ago, but that was just with a train simulator game that I had for since forever, and I didn't
Yeah.
even.
Yeah, you
Uh,
see, the thing is my computer didn't even come built in with a PC drive. I mean, like with like a
oh,
DVD drive. So I need to
y-
get an external one so I can watch my movies on it.
yeah, I have an external one, but the external one really doesn't want to play movies on my PC, which is kind of
Yeah,
sad.
the thing is my soundbar doesn't want to connect to my Xbox, which I would use for a DVD player. Like, I bought a DVD copy of American Psycho for Valentine's Day, and it won't play on my Xbox because the soundbar doesn't work.
That's a great
Interesting
present.
movie choice.
I I mean, I've never
She
had
wanted
a
to watch it, so I
girlfriend.
said okay. Like, she
I
wanted to
I've
watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never had a girlfriend, so I can't really fault you on the. I can't tell you if that's a good idea or not. But hey, if it
You
works, it
wanted
works.
to watch it, mate. So it worked.
Okay,
But
yeah,
yeah, I
there.
think it's about time that we cut the interview
All
here
right, yeah,
because it's been a little over an hour, and I don't want to
yeah, and I
hold you
gotta
up
edit
again.
this thing before.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's see, but before we do that, let's count up. How many times do you have remove listed?
I think I got 3.
Okay, well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, really? I counted 3 with the F. Oh, wait, we need to stop the recording.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the interview, and that was Chuck. I think next week I'm gonna try and get Victor on for an interview.
Yep. You mind if we close in a little prayer?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. All right, now you can do your outro
No.
spiel.
Anyway, so that's the interview with Chuck for tonight. It kind of went on a lot longer than either of us expected, really. But it was a lot of fun, old childhood nostalgia, movie shenaniganery, and COVID. It was really great. I think next week we're gonna have Vic on board. You have any final thoughts, Chuck?
Um, Mattel should sign over the rights or just put Thomas the Tank Engine in the public domain, or at the very least, make a complete collection Blu-ray bundle thingy. Because I don't want to pay for streaming just to what I want to own it. Okay, I want to own copies. Vive la
Multiple.
counter revolution when it comes to physical media. Death to streaming or something.
Anyways, that being said, Vic will be on next week. And with that, have a good night, guys.